I have covered Lego Island 1, Lego Island 2, even Lego Land, and every time I made a video on these games, I was dreading the day I have to talk about Lego Extreme Stunts, which basically was Lego Island 3 in a way, even if it wasn't called that. It features Pepper and the Brickster, and that's enough for me to call it that way. Also, I know it's called Lego in English, but I'm German, so Lego just feels more natural to me. Maybe I shouldn't say this so I can farm lots of comments to tell me how to actually pronounce it. When I got the game as a kid, I could not play it. Why? Because the family PC was not good enough. Maybe you have made the same experience with gaming on the computer when you were young. Being so excited that you got a new game in one of your favorite franchises. Putting the disc into the CD tray and installing it, just to see that nothing else happens when you click the logo on your desktop. That was the day I learned what PC requirements were. I did not know such a thing can happen since it never happened before. From that day on, I was scared to buy PC games and just kept on playing on consoles instead till I became older and wiser. And got my first own PC, which was weak, but hey, at least now I knew I couldn't play certain games and had to pay attention. Because of this little trauma, I had a bad relationship with this game. At least it wasn't a toxic one like I had with my wife. No worries, she's gone for good now. The thing is, I played it for the first time a couple of years ago on stream and was insulting it left and right for the fun of it without giving it a real chance, but this time when I replayed it, I gave it a fair shot, so there's gonna be no bias at all, really, trust me. Just a normal review from a 57-year-old guy playing with Legos. Using the PS2 version of the game since it's the same game this time, unlike Lego Island 2 on the PS1, which lacked some minigames. Instead of going on an adventure all around the world, you are making a movie because Pepper isn't a simple pizza delivery boy anymore. Even though he still works as one too, he became a movie star, and here's the first thing I already have to complain about. They turned Pepper into a Hollywood star. With that I mean they sucked him dry of any personality he had. He does not even talk in this game. In 2, he was full of energy, a happy teenage boy who enjoyed saying I'm the dude with the food. And that's just gone. Pepper needs to have a peppy personality, and he also just looks totally wrong. His eyes are dead. What did Hollywood do to this poor boy? He looks as if his soul is not there anymore. Also, no more freckles. Why? It was such a big part of his simple design and they just removed them. Look at him on the cover. It feels like he's forcing that cocky smile way too much. Maybe the real Pepper died and got exchanged for a doppelganger. Maybe he also broke up with his girlfriend and it just changed him as a man since she doesn't even show up in this game. He traded his love for the money and the fake love he gets from the other actors around here. Sad. At least he still skates, and I have to say somehow skating in this game is just really fun. Way better than the skating in 2. You can go really fast with it and jump up high and do tricks. It feeds that part of my brain that loves to press buttons while I'm just walking down the street in a game, because otherwise that walk is way too boring. You can even grind. I just wish there would be more ramps out in the world and not just in the skate parks. Which Lego Island here has even 2 of. Can never have enough of those. If you don't want to use it, you can just walk around and jump around with your double jump, and that's cool. Double jumps are just the best in games. I wish I could do it in real life too. You can use it to jump up onto buildings that have bricks or cards for you that give you some information about the people here, like their favorite food. Or just grab a car, a jet ski or a plane, after you got your licenses for them. Pepper was already allowed to do that in 2 without having to take a test first, so maybe he lost his license in the time from 2 to 3. Don't drink and drive. Maybe it's just a little nod to Lego Island 2 on your GBA, since you had to get a driving license in that game too. Another thing Pepper can do is use his pizza attack. There is no use attacking people. You can terrorize them with pizza, but it doesn't matter. Better than being attacked by someone with a knife. Using a pizza against a lactose intolerant person like me is still a crime though, since some of those tummy aches can ruin your day. Or multiple days even. The game is a glorified minigame collection at its core, and in a way Lego Island 2 was that too, but it gave you a change of scenery. Here the how game plays on Lego Island. I wonder why it looks so different from the second game, which also looked different from the first game. I mean, it's Lego, so they can easily rebuild the island whenever and however they want, but still. It's bigger, but bigger doesn't always mean better. That's what I always have to hear. So you go around to the different sets to record the scenes for the movie, or do simple little quests on your way there. Like getting your stepdad's head back after it flew away because this Brickster board had too much fun blowing. What a silly little guy. Finding someone's car parts again, or just doing little missions like racing against a gnarly skeleton or a kung fu master, who is also great at skating. I wish I would be a master at one thing, but he's a master at 2 things. I want to see him do some kung fu on a skateboard. Maybe I should go watch Lego Ninjago. But that's not all. You can explore the island and find red bricks, sadly no brown bricks, which for some reason have this ugly red font blast themselves all over your screen whenever you pick up one. You even get more points when picking up many rapidly, like a true quick shot person. Better hurry when picking them up to set a new high score. Or there's also golden bricks that are actually hearts of the animals on the island. A bit messed up, but when using a heart and some red bricks, you can build back the animals that then show up at places around the island. You get a whole 5 main minigames in the game. 5. Lego Island 2 had 19. And even if we count 2 of the non-main minigames, it's still only 7. One of them is pushing boxes around Sokoban style. The original push boxes around the screen game that many games were influenced by, even Zelda. It's funny too, since I love pushing boxes around. I wouldn't be a Zelda fan if I didn't after all. The other non-mainline minigame is Photo Fit, a sliding puzzle minigame where the game spoils you the solution when it shovels it around. It's not even really shuffling it, just do the thing the game does but in return and there you go. Why even bother? Just give me that puzzle already being shuffled. After the first one I should have just closed my eyes to give it some kind of challenge. I spent hours as a kid doing the puzzles in Wind Waker and loving it. It would have broken my poor heart if I had to do these as a kid, because it would have made me wonder, why are these so much more unfun than in Zelda? It would have turned me into a cynical monster at a young age. These also show that the Brickster is up to no good, since the goal here is to find evidence to see if the Brickster is trying to sabotage the movie. You have to crash into the Brickster over and over till his car explodes. That's it. You got a whole bunch of power-ups, but they're not really needed, or you can also do a big jump. Who doesn't love to jump with their car to scramble your brain around? My bigger question is, shouldn't my car also take damage when I bonk into him over and over? It would make the movie scene even cooler. Both cars getting destroyed, not just his. And yes, the Brickster is the villain of the movie, but totally not in the game actually. Totally. He turned over a new leaf and is a nice guy now, for sure. I mean, why would he still commit crimes after becoming an actor and being super duper rich from it probably? Rich people would never do crime, right? At least I wouldn't, I think. Or maybe I would become evil. Maybe I am already evil. Better hope I don't win the lottery, if I would be playing that. I just don't have that gambler mindset, I guess. All of these minigames have 3 different Oscars for you to win, and they all get harder. Like on Gold he takes way less damage, so you have to crash into him more often in a stricter time limit. It's not the worst, but also not really that fun either. It's serviceable, but it's serviceable enough when you don't have that many minigames. Shouldn't every one of them be a banger that bangs your wife and you happily enjoy it? After getting enough Oscars, you can move on to the next movie shooting. You are doing a motorbike race against the Brickster and have to avoid obstacles. Not too many at first, but playing on silver or gold, it actually gets decently challenging. Or maybe that's just because I'm old now and suck at video games. My reaction times were better once upon a time. If there's something on the ground and there's no ramp around, you have to do a wheelie over them, and it's easy to do except for these ocean things that I do not know the name of. Somehow these always made me stumble at first. When you jump, you can also do a trick, and the more exciting your trick is, the more your meter on the right fills up and it boosts your speed. It goes slower again if you don't do any tricks, and you're likely to get beaten by the Brickster if you don't do them. Or because you fall, and fall again. It really is pretty tricky when you do not know what's coming next and have little time to react on the higher difficulties. It's actually fairly fun, but I wish they would have made different tracks for each difficulty. They just throw more shit onto the ground instead of making a completely new level. I don't want to spoil it, but I have to say it already. This was my favorite minigame. It's a jet ski race, and it really put me back to Lego Island 1, especially because of the music that plays, since it's really similar to the one in the jet ski race in the first game. Racing in first person is cooler than third person, but this one goes fast as hell. Fast and Furious even. I have never seen a single movie of those. They should have just made 20 levels of this. I would have played them all. Sadly, it doesn't matter if a minigame is bad or good, you only get 3 levels of them. Unless it's pushing boxes, then you get tons of them. Not much more I can say about it. In a way, the most fun things in life are the ones you understand with the least amount of words possible. Like crying yourself to sleep every night, but happy tears because you appreciate life. This one was my least favorite one, and I do not appreciate it. It just feels not fun to play. It's like Freeway Frenzy, but with airplanes instead and way worse hitboxes. You have to fly through wings to collect fuel or surplus for your wings and engine, whatever that even means, and then boost into the Brickster to make his plane explode. Sometimes you clearly fly into him and it doesn't count as a hit, and sometimes hits that are hits don't feel like hits. why not turn it into a shooting plane minigame like how it existed in Lego Island 2? That game was also not the best already, but way better than this. Don't kids love guns, especially guns on a plane, going pew pew to kill your opponent? It's not like Lego never released any sets without guns. Here it makes even less sense to crash one plane into the other plane, since planes are more sensitive than cars. I wouldn't want my pilot crashing into other planes. Not like I would want my bus driver to do the same, but I think the chance of survival is higher than with a plane. You are jumping out of the plane and have to collect a bunch of smarty pants, also called professors, and do some sick tricks and have to land safely in a circle at the bottom. This kind of minigame already also existed in Lego Island 2, so they couldn't even bother to truly make the few games unique, despite having so little of them. I don't even blame the developers for it, but the actual Lego company. If you look at the official actual Lego sets of the Xtreme Stunts line, you may see that most of them resemble the things in the game. It feels like they got told to make a game around these and they most likely tried their best, which sadly made the game worse, but apparently these sets also flopped really badly and they never went back to creating more of them. And well, I'm not surprised when looking at them. It's just a bunch of vehicles, a skateboard ramp and an extreme tower that is the complete opposite of extreme. So now after you have filmed all of these, you get to see the movie in its full glory. No, you don't. Obviously, the Brickster is doing his evil things again, who could have thought? They're letting the Brickster get away with it too much. If I were the president of Lego Island, I would have already executed him. Sometimes that's what people deserve, or at least pull his head off and put it into a different cell. Oh wait, they only got one prison cell. Since there has never been another game with Pepper and the Brickster, I would say they followed my advice. Rest in pieces. Instead of ending, you first get like 5 more minutes of gameplay, but the kind of gameplay that makes you wonder, why couldn't we have more of that? You first get to drive through rings and it's always fun, like in my favorite video game, Superman 64. I love how randomly it just ends and teleports you to the final stage, where the Brickster's goons have built a tower again. The Brickster really loves his towers at the end of the games. I wish I would be obsessed with something like that. And here's the deal, some may even call it the kicker. Why did they never make games like this? I would have loved an actual Lego Jumpin' back in the day. They just always put these towers into the end of the games and were like, yep, our job here is done. Why couldn't I have more of this? Because this was kind of fun. Like not the fun you will remember for the rest of your life, but the kind of fun you don't mind to have. I love having fun, yay! Jumping over platforms and actually engaging with something that didn't have to be done before. In the Lego Island games, it was always possible to change flowers, trees, the heads of the people living here, things like that, but it was always more of a cute little Easter egg. But here it's an actual gameplay mechanic suddenly, right at the end of the game. Sure, another quest made you change the color of them flowers, but here you have to turn these flowers into trees so you can jump over the wall like that, using out your skateboard to lay down a sick grind. Wow. So you reach the tower and have to get it up in a little 2D Jumpin' section, and I think if Silicon Dreams would still be an existing studio, Nintendo should hire them to make a new Donkey Kong game. The action here, the fun, the suspense, the details on the barrels, unmatched to this day. With an epic boss battle that surely wouldn't be out of place in a top 10 best boss battles ever video from Watch Mojo. The only time you really have to use your pizza attack to push him off the tower. With the Brickster turning into a baby. Maybe we have been too hard on him. Maybe he just needs some people to talk to. Especially since we learn everyone else on the island got houses built for them, but he only got tiny little bricks that he found under their beds and stuff. No wonder he's so mean to everyone else. They wanted to bully him off the island from the start. This 10-second backstory scene redeemed him in my eyes. I now hate everyone on Lego Island except for him. What do you mean I'm easily manipulated? I'm not. Try it out if you want. At least he gets to watch the premiere of the movie. And you do too. The one thing I was looking forward to all along. It puts me right back in time when looking at these Lego CGI cutscenes in the other games and thinking, man, they should make a real movie like that. Then they did eventually and I never watched it. Probably because it just looks too clean. Looking at this, it makes me think this is what it should look like. But that's just the inner boomer talking inside of me. I love how surprised Pepper looks at his own movie. He should know what happens next. You can't be surprised if you know it. Probably. I don't know if real actors act like this too. I could easily find it out by simply googling that question, but I'm too lazy to do that. Maybe I should become one and make a bigger masterpiece than Fred the movie. All in all, it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. Some minigames were even fun. Sadly, not all of them, and with such a low amount of them, that's a real deal breaker. It's like making a deal on Deal or No Deal and leaving with like 2,000 bucks. It's nice to have 2,000 bucks and everyone would take them, but you go to those shows to win way bigger, so it would still be disappointing to only win 2,000. There's one big saving grace: the OST is full of actual bangers. They even somehow managed to have Oasis make a song for them. Or the pop song Lego is All I Need, that tries to manipulate your mind into thinking it's true so you become addicted to Lego. Or Minty Fresh, that's just a really cool wacky song. Since I can't really show their greatness in full, I would recommend listening to some of the vocal tracks. You never want to listen to another soundtrack afterwards. Now the video could be over, but luckily this game also existed on the Game Boy Advance. Actually, we are not lucky at all. This one just sucks, straight up. Unlike Lego Island 2 for the GBA, this one is way closer to the original game, for the worse. It mostly takes the minigames from the main game and translates them over to absolute shovelware. The kind of game that you get for Christmas from your grandparents and think, wow, thanks Granny and Gramps, this will be the best game ever, and then you play it and have to force yourself to smile so you don't think you're a bad person for hating a gift. We have all been there. There are a few new additions, like having to play summon sass with the Brickster and doing kung fu moves. Wouldn't it make more sense to use the actual kung fu character for it? And I really want to show you the sound effects whenever you or him do moves. Amazing, isn't it? I would love to sit on the bus and hearing this when I sit next to someone playing this on their GBA or on their phone emulator nowadays. Another exclusive minigame is Zoomer, you know, the game your mom probably played on Facebook all the time. Having to get 3 same colored balls in a row so you shoot them around to make that happen. Or pizza, why not at least put some effort into it? Make some pizza with jalapenos, some with french fries, anything. Why at least just colored balls? I get why, having to see such little details on a tiny GBA display would be a pain, but still. It makes it look worse than it is, since it's not a bad game but maybe a bad fit for a Lego Island game. I wish No More Heroes 2 had Zoomer as a minigame to earn cash. Most of them are a tiny bit changed, like how the motorbike mayhem is still a race, but now it controls more like a trials game, where you have to tilt the bike correctly to keep your speed, and well, I do like the trials games, but here it's not so much fun. Luckily you don't even need to win the race, getting second is fine too, and I'm happy about it because I would have not made it past this then. You really gotta learn where to boost here to get the easy routes. I played this version for an hour and I couldn't go on anymore, it became too repetitive. The same minigames over and over. In the real game you at least had the overworld to do something else every once in a while, but here you just go from level to level on this ugly world select screen. A bit sad since the Lego Island 2 version on the GBA was pretty good and charming, and here they couldn't be asked to give people a decent product. But that's life. I looked at a long play of it and the minigames really just repeat themselves till the end, nothing new added. At least the sliding puzzle minigame in this version was actually harder than the PS2 or PC version, since it shovels way more often and you can't just track them back. Still not extremely hard, but for puzzle slider fans it's worth a look. Actually it's not, I just wanted to sound like a generic gaming magazine would have written that line back in the day. In the end, Xtreme Stunts is for me the worst entry in the franchise, and in a way I'm happy it doesn't really carry the true title of a Lego Island game. Not like it really matters. I'm not gonna pretend the first 2 games were masterpieces, but they at least felt like they were made because they wanted to be made, if that makes sense. Here it just felt that the Lego company told the developers, hey, we gotta make a quick buck with this game to sell these sets, so we will give you a year to make a game with a budget of 2 gummy bears and some pennies. Maybe that's just my nostalgia talking or my hatred for this being the first game I ever got that didn't work because of my own incompetence. I will spare you the talk about how I miss the more creative Lego games from the past, because I've already done that in my video about Lego Island 1 and also 2. And I don't want to sound too much like a boomer. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and will have a good day, a good night, or whatever fits your time zone, and maybe one day Peppa gets another game. I think the chances of me finding another wife are higher than that though. But you know what they say, never say never. Unless you're a big shot at Lego. Bye bye.